and we're going to start in tabletop. So once you make it into tabletop, we'll just start shifting those hips from left to right, side to side. And then let's make a circle with those hips. So just move the hips around in a circle. And the other direction with that circle. And let's come back to center. Nice inhale into cow. Exhale into cat. And let's just move with that for 2 more breaths. And then let's come into cow and pause there. So push away from the floor, move the shoulders back, the heart forward, and the solar plexus down as you draw the back of the hips towards the back of the head. You want to feel this obviously in the whole spine, but you want to start to feel it in that upper back. So pull your heart forward, keep pushing away from the floor, find the breath, and slowly transition into cat. And as we come into cat, rounding the whole spine. So it's really easy to round the middle and upper back here because that's their natural curve, but our low back curves the opposite direction. It's got that lordotic curve. And so we want to take it out of that curve and stretch it in a different way. So really focus on lowering, rounding the low back. So scoop that tailbone way under, pull the belly button way up into the spine as you push it to the ceiling, and let that chin tuck in and find the breath. And tuck those toes, lift those knees up to downward facing dog. Feel free to adjust your body to how it needs to be here. I'm not looking for a perfect down dog. I'm looking for whatever feels okay for your body in this moment, and just start moving around. Just start playing with movement. There's no right or wrong. You can rock back and forth, kind of like plank, and maybe even a baby little up dog, or you can, I love to pedal the feet and kind of move one knee underneath me as I pull the opposite hip back. That gets into the side body and way up into the shoulder if you really work that. And then of course, if you want to wake up those ankles and calves, if you have really tight calves, working with just pedaling these feet, or if you have a side that's really tight like I do, my right side is really tight because of all my knee surgeries and broken ankles and stuff. So I just hang out on that side and stretch out that side. So there's no right or wrong. Notice the sensations that come up as you move the body around. Remember to breathe, the most important part of our practice. Okay, so let's find a down dog that you can hold for a moment. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. Your hands can be wider than usual, your feet can be wider than usual, and you can even have your hands and feet closer together than usual. That's fine. So what we're looking for is you can press back. So you can press back and you have a straight line from your hips to your wrists. So that might mean this early in our practice that you have to take your hands a little wider so your shoulders have more space. And then draw the heels down as you draw the belly in. And just press on back. Give the shoulder blades a little squeeze as you lift the heart up and draw the belly in. And then shift forward and drop the knees down. Take them just a little bit wider than the hips. Let the feet rest down so the tops of the feet are on the floor, and stretch those arms on out long into extended child's pose. So most of you know that I can't press all the way back into extended child's pose because of my knee. So just press back as far as you can. So my bottom does not come close to my heels, but hopefully yours does come a little closer than mine. And if it doesn't, well, hey, that's okay, right? So let's stretch it out long, inch those fingers forward as you pull the hips back so you get a nice stretch, sink the whole body down. So we're not just sinking into the chest. Sorry, I have a little bit of a lisp. I have a couple sores in my mouth. So, and this bee, I've got one on my tongue. So take a nice big inhale, let the belly drop to the floor, fill that belly up with air, and exhale, pull back, and then shift forward and drop those elbows down to the floor. And your palms can stay flat, or you can interlace the fingers, either way, whatever feels better. And then bring those knees back in under the hips. And let's stretch that right leg on out behind us. So as you stretch that right leg on out behind, square off the hip. So the hip kind of lifts to make it easier to shift the weight over to that left leg. So bring it down. So you've got to use a little core to hold that leg out there. Push your collarbone away from the floor, gaze in between the arms for a moment and just breathe there, reaching out through the leg. Toes can be pointed a little, or you can flex. Let's flex and really straighten out the legs so those quadriceps engage, and just breathe there. All right, on the inhale, point the toes, lift the leg up, look forward. And on the exhale, kick, so just bend the knee and then squeeze in. And as you squeeze in, lift the knee way up into the chest and draw the cheek and knee together. Inhale, stretch it out, lift up, look up. Exhale, kick and squeeze. Trying to move that left hip as little as possible, so you're not flailing all around here. You're really staying just straight out, up, and in. All right, the next time you come in, squeeze in as tight as you can. And then release that knee on down to the floor. So chances are your elbows slid wide. Maybe not, but if they did, bring them back in. Draw that belly into the spine as you float that left leg on out behind you. Square off that hip, get that core going, find the breath there. And let's flex that foot once again, reaching through the heel. Keep that core strong, keep that collarbone pushing away from the floor. And then go ahead and point those toes. Inhale, lift up, look up. Exhale, kick and squeeze. So again, as you squeeze, lift that knee as far away from the floor as you can, way up into the chest, and then draw the cheek and knee together. Inhale, lift up, look up. Exhale, kick and squeeze. And the next time you come in, hold it there, squeeze in, and release it down, inch those elbows back towards your knees until you can bring those arms along the sides into child's pose, and let those arms just drop. And so once again, my bottom is way higher than it normally would be for this pose, just because I can't bend my knee enough to get any lower. So if you can get lower, go for it. Find some place that's comfortable for you that allows those arms and shoulders and wrists to rest. All right, let's bring the hands to the floor. Rise on up all the way to the knees and just kick that left foot forward. Okay, so setting ourselves up for some of this Anjaneyasana stuff, some of this crescent moon and lunge stuff. So we want that front foot to be a little further forward. So if you bent that front knee as far as it will go, it doesn't go past the ankle. So just give that a test. Make sure it's on railroad tracks, and make sure, you know, it's not too far off to the side or in towards center. So when you bend it, the knee kind of tracks. The knee is in line with the hip as well as the ankle. And then bend it all the way and just make sure it doesn't go too far past the ankle. All right, and then we're going to come back. So press into that front foot, press into the back foot. Top of the foot is down on the back. Reach that right arm on up. Scoop the tailbone forward. Draw the belly way into the spine. And then bend that knee, that front knee. So as you're bending that knee, you're continuing to try and reach the tailbone forward and reach the belly button to the spine. So keep that pelvic tilt and just sink as much as feels okay. And then go ahead and draw the arm back a little. If it's available, you can look up to the sky up to the ceiling. If that's too much, then keep the gaze forward. Inhale, exhale, release that hand down to the floor, bring it in towards center a little bit and open that left arm up, push away from the floor, reach for the ceiling and spin that chest open as you pull your arm back, trying to get into that upper back a little bit. And bring it on back to center. So this is where blocks are going to be super handy. And again, if you don't have blocks at home, please get them. We use them all the time. We have some left here at the studio, but we're getting low. So if you want to grab some here at the studio, we have a sale still going on, 2 for $15. Just trying to get rid of all this stuff. All right, so blocks are up on the tall side. If you don't have 2 blocks, if you only have 1 block, that's okay. We can still work with it. It would be on the left side, on the tall side of the block. Okay, so on the inhale, we're going to sink those hips down, bend that knee, draw the shoulders back. So blocks are back kind of underneath the shoulders. Roll those shoulders back, lift the heart up. That's going to be our inhale. Exhale is pushing the hips back, straightening that left leg a little bit. Might want the blocks a little bit wider here and only diving as far forward as you can, keeping that nice flat back. So that's going to be our exhale. Inhale, bending the knee, shoulder blades squeeze together, heart lifts up, hips sink down. Exhale, push it back, stretch it out. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hamstrings, hello. How about just a hello, hamstrings? Hello, hello. And I'm taking my blocks a little wider. I feel like I like them there. I have more movement in my shoulders. So feel free to play around with those blocks a little bit so you feel supported. All right, and the next time we bend that knee, sink it down, and you can bring those blocks forward a little bit and just let those hips get heavy. So bend your left knee as much as it will bend and drop those hips down towards the floor. So it's like the front of the right thigh is just sinking down towards the floor. And then you can walk the blocks back again a little bit, roll those shoulders back and lift that heart and chin up, coming into a back bend, lift that heart, breathe. And slowly release. Tuck those back toes under, lift the knee up, walk the blocks forward. So we're gonna do the same exact thing we just did, except with our knee up. So again, kind of take a peek, make sure you're on railroad tracks. So each foot is on a track. And you can, I like the blocks a little bit further back from the shoulders on this one because we're gonna straighten that leg. So again, inhaling, bending the knee, lift the back knee up on this one as you sink the hips down. And then on the exhale, straightening that front leg and hinging only as much as you can with those blocks. Inhaling into our lunge, exhaling into our forward bend. And the next time you bend that knee, walk your blocks forward and step that back foot forward. Half lift, inhale. My hip. And exhale, hinge. And bend those knees, drop it on down like ragdoll. Don't bother moving the feet. We're not going to stay here too long. We're coming right up. We're just going to dangle here for an extra breath. And slowly bring it up all the way up. Ooh, notice the difference between your left hip and right hip right now, if you can. Inhale up and exhale, dive it down. And bend those knees. Step your left foot back to your low lunge. So taking that foot way back, getting us set up for our Anjali Asana sequence. So drop that back knee down when you get there. And once again, bend that front knee as much as you can. Make sure your hips are square. Both hips are aiming equally forward. And then bend that knee and see if it goes past the ankle. If it does, scooch that right foot forward a little bit. Okay, so we're starting off with this one, pushing back a little bit. So we're not sinking all the way in. I tend to lean in this one. So I've really got to, I might even use a block on the right side on this one just to keep me square. Okay, left arm comes up. Tailbone to the front, belly button to the back. Find that pelvic tilt. Reach up, lift the heart, maybe the gaze. Find the breath. That right hand can be on the thigh, but keep reaching the tailbone forward. Keep pulling the belly back to keep that pelvic tilt. Breathe. And slowly release that left palm down to the floor. Open that right arm up. Push away from the floor. Reach for the ceiling and spin that chest open as you pull the arm back. Breathe. Keep the right foot glued to the floor. And slowly release back to center. Grab those blocks up on the tall side. Again, you can do this with just one block on the right side if you need to, right? It's just for balance. Helps keep our hips square. All right, so our inhale is going to be sinking those hips down, squeezing the shoulder blades together, lifting the heart and chin up. And our exhale is going to be diving forward, trying to keep those nice square hips. So find your rhythm with the breath. It's like the breath and body are dancing together. Neither one of them is leading. They're dancing perfectly in sync together without one of them having to lead. All right, the next time you inhale, pause there and just sink it down. Once again, bending that right knee as far as it'll go, keeping the hips square with each other so that left hip's not pulling back, and then drop that left thigh to the floor, that left hip. And just breathe there for a moment. Tuck those back toes under, lift that knee up. Get those blocks back under the shoulders, maybe a little bit further than that. On the inhale, sink those hips down, shoulders squeeze together again, lift that heart and chin. But as you do that, lift that back knee way up. And then on your exhale, dive it forward, straight leg. All right, the next time you bend that knee, walk those blocks forward, and then hop it forward. Set them off to the side, half lift, inhale. Exhale, hinge. And all the way up. Ooh. Hello, psoas, into the heart. All right, inhale up. Exhale, dive. Inhale. And step both feet back this time to plank. Drop those knees right on down. Once you get there, push up, 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 way up. How far away from the floor can you get that collarbone? Can you smooth out the space in between the shoulders a little more? Inhale. Exhale, lie down. Hug those elbows in, peel those shoulders way away from the ears as you press into the palms and press up into cobra, squeezing those glutes and pulling the belly button up into the spine as you go. There's our inhale. Exhale, come on down. 2 more. And the next time you come down, tuck those toes. Get those big toes nice and tucked, push straight up, nice inhale. And exhale, push those hips back to those heels, stretch it out, keep the toes tucked as you press back. And take it up to downward facing dog. So press it on back. So let's get those feet on railroad tracks. So they're about 4 to 6 inches apart or so. If your hips are a little wider, then we're looking at the 6 inches. Okay. Bend that. I'm just trying to think if I need to do mirror image or not. I don't. Bend that right knee. Draw the left heel down. So what happens when you switch from side to side? And spin underneath. So you're taking that right knee underneath you over to the left. So you're just even on toes as you're pulling that left hip back, sinking the left heel down and kind of peeking underneath that left arm. Breathe. And the other side, spin the toes to the left. I'm sorry, you guys, to the right. Sink the right heel down, push that knee back as you pull that left knee underneath you, like you're trying to touch it to that wall or whatever's over to your right, and peeking underneath that right arm. Breathe. And come on back to center. Push on back, stretch it on out. And float that right leg on up. As you draw the left heel down, feel that nice stretch. Inhale, lift a little higher. Exhale, shift forward, knee to chest. Bring the knee down to the floor. So look at your knee and make sure it's in line with your hip. And then kick your right foot over underneath your left thigh. So you should look like this to start, right? So you've got knee and hip, and then that heel is starting right underneath that thigh. And then your hips are nice and square. And then tuck those left toes and inch your left foot back as you walk your hands back. And it's when your hips are low enough, you can get your elbows down to the ground. Okay, so if you're not getting, you should feel this in your right glute, somewhere in that back region there. If you're not getting enough stretch, you can take that right foot and pull, kind of lean over to the right, pull that foot forward, pin it down with your left hand, come back to nice square hips, and then go down from there. Okay, so eventually the full pose is with the shin all the way forward, parallel to the front of your mat, and you're basically laying on the shin, but that's not where we're trying to get to right now. I want, the most important part of this is nice flat hips. So if I came and set my teacup on the back of your hips, it would stay nice and stable there. So we're not leaning over to the right. Okay, so find those nice square hips, pull your belly button down towards the floor. Maybe you take your elbows out to the sides if it's available and rest your head on your hands. But as you do that, you're pulling the whole torso down towards the floor. So you're not tucking and rounding the back, you're pulling it down. It's a forward bend. And so in our forward bends, we want that nice, most of the time. I mean, we always make exceptions, right? We always play around with it a little bit, but in this pose to really get an effective stretch, we want the whole torso pulling towards the floor. Find the breath. And rise on up, fall on over. If you have a blanket underneath you, you might want to move it out to the side. Fall on over to that right hip and just kind of scoot your right foot down so it's in front of you. Okay, so now you're laying on your side and you've got your knee in front of you. Let me turn this way. Okay, so we're kind of hanging out like this. Lift that left leg up and just grab it. So try not to be sinking down towards the floor here. Push up and away from the floor. So you've got the elbow under the shoulder and maybe even a little fist there to push that into the floor. And then just start lifting that leg up. So here's the trick. If we let that hip drop back, that left one, we can just do this, right? Well, some of us can. Try to keep the hip stacked. So that left hip is stacked on top. Ooh, cramp. It's too early. I've not had any water yet. So for me, it's early in the morning and I had nothing to drink yet. So a little crampy, a little dehydrated, right? So eventually we might kind of end up here. Some of us with really stupidly long arms like mine can come way up here or grab. So you can play around with this, but think my hip is pulling back, right? So thinking about trying to keep that left hip stacked on top as you draw the leg closer. And then you can straighten out that bottom leg if you want to. You don't have to. And release it down. So straighten out both legs if they're not already. So you can just stay here and enjoy this kind of side body stretch as you push away from the floor. If you're feeling a little ambitious today, you can try and lift those hips up off the floor into a forearm side plank. If that's too much for you today, don't worry about it. Just keep the hips down and you can enjoy a nice stretch there. All right, we're gonna roll it around onto our forearms. So you can come into Sphinx or forearm plank. So Sphinx is just with the hips down on the floor and you're pulling the heart and forward and the shoulders back. The forearm plank is where our hips are just as low as the shoulders, lifting the knees up, pressing back through the heels And then find that just right place for the hips. There's a little tuck of the tailbone. Keep pushing the collarbone away from the floor. Find the breath. All right, let's all make our way to downward facing dog from wherever you're at. Take your time. Everybody's going to be transitioning a little differently. We'll meet in our down dog. All right, let's root those hands. Bend your left knee, sink your right heel down, press on back. So push back, really straighten out that right leg as you push back. Look back at your feet or your ankles and really stretch out those left toes to really lift the heel off the floor. And then switch. And then both heels sink down, push it on back, stretch it on out. Float that left leg up. Nice inhale, lift it high. Exhale, shift forward, knee to chest. Bring that knee straight down to the floor. And then kick that left foot over underneath the thigh. Drop that back knee down. And just check your alignment like we did before. Knee in line with hip, heel right underneath that right thigh. And then inch that right foot back till you can get your elbows to the floor. Stop there, reposition. Pull your hips down, pull your belly down, inch your elbows out to the sides if that's available. Maybe rest your head on your hands, pulling your heart down. If that's not getting you enough stretch, you don't lay down any further. You bring the foot further forward. So finding your breath wherever you're at. Noticing how this side feels compared to the other. All right, let's fall on over to that left hip. And then we're gonna slide that knee in front of us. Okay, so we've got the knee right in front of us. We're on that elbow. Get the elbow right underneath the shoulder. You can make that fist or your palm can be flat, whatever works. Get that right hip stacked right on top of the left. And then just kick that leg out straight. Maybe grab the thigh, maybe the back of the thigh. Play around with it. As you bring the leg higher, I've got to bring this knee down just so that I don't, those hips don't fall. We haven't done this pose in a long time. And I'm tight. All right, so that right hip is stacking again. You're grabbing whatever you can grab. Thigh, back of the leg, whatever you can get. Push away from the floor so we're not letting those ribs sink. Infinity pose. And if you straightened that bottom leg out on the other side, give it a go on this side. Keep that breath going. All right, so stretch both legs out straight. And you can, again, you can kind of hang out here and push away from the floor and work on this side body stretch, or you can lift those hips on up. Ooh, don't know if I could do it on this side. Into forearm plank, side plank. Find that breath wherever you're at. And around to Sphinx or forearm plank. Finding that breath wherever you're at. And we'll meet in child's pose this time. So full child's pose, not extended, just so those shoulders can rest from whatever pose you were just in, inching those elbows back until you can round out and let those arms come along the sides. And let's lift up. Shift the hips off to one side until you can have a seat. Taking a moment to get situated on that bottom. Once you're there, sorry, I was joking last week saying like I would never be able to do professional videos, like too much going on. I guess you get used to it, right? You make sure you don't have your hair in your face. You make sure you don't have these technical issues. I don't know. I'd be re-recording the video so many times it wouldn't even be funny. That's why I have put no videos up on the video library lately, because I'm like, yeah, it's just not working with my knee limitations and stuff. All right, so we're bringing that left foot on in, side to thigh. Okay, so as high up the thigh as feels good for you, with the hips both square forward. So as you know, I cannot bend this knee all the way, so I'm stuck with my foot at the knee. But if you can get yours up a little higher into the inner thigh, great. And then let that left knee just drop down, let it just fall. Let's bring the hands outside the hips and push the hips forward, push the heart forward, roll the shoulders back and keep them open. If you're a little more flexible here, bring the hands a little further forward. And find that breath. So my knee is popping up high. Yours might, if I was on the other side, so it would be just down. I would be here coming forward. So it'd be much different. Okay, so you may not look like I do right now. So find that breath for Janu Shirshasana. And let's come on up, sit up nice and tall. Nice inhale, exhale, twist to the left. Twist, 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 come back to center. Left arm up, nice inhale, exhale, come over to the side for a side bend. Stay centered, so keep that left arm all the way in line with side body. So maybe your arm's not as close as mine. Maybe you work on trying to get that right elbow a little closer to the floor and keep the arm away a little bit. I'm gonna play around with this a little. And come on up, stretch that leg out and bring the other one on in. So try and have it in the same place that you did on the other side. Maybe lift up and reposition those hips so they're nice and square. Okay, and then let that right knee fall down. Hands outside the hips. So I'm just using the fingertips to push forward. Not so much the fingertips, it's more like the finger pads. Roll the shoulders back, push forward. Keep that heart reaching, keep those shoulders open, soften the jaw. Keep that breath going, most important part of our practice. And come on, back up. Take a nice inhale, get tall, and exhale, twist to the right. And come on back to center, reach that right arm up, nice inhale. And exhale, come on over to your side bend. Thinking about whatever you did on the other side, keep that breath going. And bring it on back, stretch that leg on forward, wiggle those sitting bones back, and find your forward bend. All right, let's release that and come on in to cross-legged. So you're comfortable cross-legged. So I often ask you to bring the funny feeling leg in front, but this time let it be the comfortable leg because we're gonna end here this time. So I want you to be as comfortable as possible. So if you like a prop underneath you, feel free to grab a prop to get a little more comfy. So take a moment to get situated in your cross-legged, or you could do meditation pose up on a prop with the heels in line. So take a moment to settle in, finding a long spine. So pull those hips forward, soften the jaw, let those shoulders melt down. And tuck the chin and just roll that head on around. Other direction. And back to center. Find that long spine, shoulders are melting. Find the breath. Feeling that breath move up the spine, helping you to grow taller. Feeling the breath move down the spine, helping you to settle in. Inhaling, lengthening, expanding. Exhaling, softening, settling. Letting the energy flow between your root chakra, which is our foundation right underneath our seat, and our crown chakra. Prana, energy flow, life force energy. This breath literally breathes the life into us every minute of every day. It has power. Connect with that inhale and feel that life being breathed into you. And as you exhale, feel that release, feel that sense of letting go. Knowing that you do not need to hang on to anything that doesn't serve you. As you notice yourself hanging on to things that don't serve you, asking yourself why. Not in this moment, but just as you go through your day. In this moment, all you need to know is you can let it go. Let's find 2 more nice breaths here. Bringing those hands together at heart, keeping the eyes closed. As you find that long spine again, shoulders continue to melt down. Tuck the chin, find that breath again, this time here at the heart center. Inhaling right into that heart center, imagining that inhale could fill you up with whatever you need or want to be breathed in to your heart today, this evening. And as you breathe out, feeling that flow move outward, letting go of what does not serve you. And bowing down, saying thank you to yourself for taking this time on your mat.